Put that coffee down. What's up? It's Dominic DeAngelo. I'm of OneTrueSportTV.com, FourHorsemenNetwork.com, and RVDTV.com. We're live. Thanks to Rob Van Dam on his Twitter account, on his X account there. Be sure to go to Only Wrestlers. That's right. OnlyWrestlers.com. Sign up there and get ready for their first ever pay-per-view, March 20th. You can check it out if you sign up and subscribe to one of the talents that is on the card. So, for example, if you subscribe to Brian Cage's account, you will get the pay-per-view streaming for free. And now you pay for the little monthly subscription that Brian Cage has, but you get the pay-per-view for free. And so it's a cool way to kind of get fans invested into it. It's free to sign up on Only Wrestlers, set up an account. You're free to join RVD's account for free. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to Katie Forbes' account for free as well. And be sure to tune in March 20th on OnlyWrestlers.com for their upcoming show. Speaking of shows, the reason I'm here tonight is to talk a little bit about Glengarry Glen Ross. That's right. So Raw was in New York City this past Monday, and so was I. But not to cover Raw, but to go see Glengarry Glen Ross. I bookmarked this ever since I heard about it, and I kept tabs big time because I was like, I'm a huge Mammoth fan from way back in college. I was played Bernie Litko in his Sexual Perversity in Chicago. So if you're familiar with that play or not familiar with that play, give it a Google, Sexual Perversity in Chicago, and you'll see what it's about. It's about two guys just trying to get women, and clearly both of them don't know what they're doing. But it's a very, very good show. They made movie adaptations to it, but none of them are very good about last night or what the movies are. But anywho, I was in that play in college, and I love the dialogue of Mammoth and what he did as a playwright, and the pauses that you would get, very artful in the crass language that is done, everything to that effect. Mammoth is an awesome writer. If you ever seen the movie Wag the Dog, he wrote the screenplay for that, and he also wrote the screenplay for the movie version of Glengarry Glen Ross. I was almost in Glengarry Glen Ross in college. I was going to play Shelley the Machine Levine, but the play fell through, and I never got to do it. So when this popped up on my news feed, I don't remember where I first saw it, maybe on Instagram, but man, I was so amped. I was like, there is no way I'm going to miss this play. And sure enough, I kept tabs. Once I saw those opening night tickets, I dove in, scooped mine up, and sure enough, booked my trip to New York City. And so it was on Monday night. The first preview night happened March 10th. And so I got there a little bit early. There was about an hour early and waited in line and chatted up with some folks. But the Palace Theater is where it took place at. And what a beautiful theater. They just renovated it. Apparently, it was originally on the floor that when you enter, or maybe it was down below, but they had to literally put the new stage up on the third floor for reasons. I can't remember where. So you rode an escalator up to get to where the new stage was. But what a beautiful atmosphere in there. Every seat was filled. They had a really, really cool aspect of like a merch stand, hence where I got this mug. And then they had posters, hoodies, T-shirts, pens that you could do, chopsticks because the first act takes place in a Chinese restaurant, and then their drink special menus, which was really cool. They had the lime Ricky Roma and all that kind of stuff. So, yes. So let's get to the play. Man, seeing curtain rolls up, and like I said, it take first scene, act, first act. All of it's in the Chinese restaurant, and that's how the play is too. Now, if you're familiar with the movie was written, happened in 1992. Like I said, the screenplay was also written by Mammoth. However, the most notorious lines that people pull from the movie are actually not in the original stage play. They are that, and the character of Alec Baldwin in the movie was not in the play at all. So Mammoth specifically wrote Blake for the movie. So where I'm going with that is that character that monologue, put that coffee down. Coffee is for closers. You gotta have like brass balls, that all that stuff. Set of steak knives. None of that is in the play, but you don't need it. Uh, the neat thing about everything, how it was set up, boom, pops up, and the opening scene is with Shelley the Machine Levine and John Williamson, who's like the company stooge for Mitch and Murray, the real estate firm there, and Bob Odenkirk. If you like Better Call Saul, reason I'll wear this shirt tonight. If you like Better Call Saul, you will love Bob Odenkirk's portrayal of Shelley Levine in this. He's very Saul Goodman-esque in trying to make his pitch to John about giving him these leads. There's a contest going on where they have to get these tickets or get enough sales to get on the leaderboard. And I think there are only 2 people left on the board will still have a job. So it's like a cutthroat, very desperation, high stakes kind of element. So Shelley is making his pitch. He's the veteran of the real estate firm, used to be on a hot streak, now is not anymore. So he's trying to get these good leads from John Williamson. It's not bound to happen. There's some haggling going on. The whole aspect of this whole play is everybody is either trying to sell a house or sell themselves in some form or fashion. And it's such a awesome show. And Bob Odenkirk was awesome in his role. The ability to have that comedic time, and obviously he's well aware of that. But for these guys to be able to rattle off these monologues that they were doing was just amazing. And like what they were added to the Mamet dialogue, they added obviously themselves and what they do. But if you read Mamet's dialogue and a script of his, you will see his scripts are very like detailed in regards to the dialogue. Now a lot of his stage direction is very toned down, like gives you just basic stuff for the most part, I believe. And but what they did with the Chinese restaurant was gorgeous. Like the whole aspect of it all was dim, but it looked very like lavish and kind of stereotypical of what you would think of a Chinese restaurant now. But fancier looking one. So, but man, what they would do is they would, boom, one scene goes on, there's like 2 booths there, and then the lights would go off. Next scene pops up, boom, there's Bill Burr and there's Michael McKean sitting together, and you get the next aspect of this. So, Michael McKean was amazing as George Aronow. That was played by Alan Arkin. Yes, Alan Arkin is the older actor's name, who passed away a few years ago, but that's the same role in that movie. And man, does Michael McKean just like low key is like an MVP of the whole play, because he's really great with like the kind of the defeatist attitude. He's like the nice guy of everything, it seems, but very, very well done. And kind of the lone guy you kind of feel pity for in certain ways. But Bill Burr, I got to tell you, so he was a primary reason why I wanted to go to this, because I love Bill Burr. I've loved Bill Burr for a long, long time. And and even I look back on his podcast, he read one of my questions. I asked about Vinny Testaverde and old quarterbacks, and he had a good play of that. So the clip is up on YouTube, actually. I can share it, But anywho, so he was a big reason why I went. And man, you want to talk about a role that was written for him 40 years before this play happened. They did this here, the revival, because this play was performed in 1984 on Broadway for the first time. The role of David Moss, Bill Burr hits it. Like, it is Bill Burr, what you like Bill Burr, just his angry, like, just going at it, just really goes. And it's awesome to see him just do this on stage live, like with Michael McKean, a great actor like Michael McKean, and Bill Burr just fits right in with it all. Like, he's awesome. Got so many laughs. The crowd popped for him. The crowd popped for everybody, but the crowd popped for him for sure, like when he had it. Man, it's great. He just did an awesome job. So then the next scene, the stage darkens, and boom, lights pop back up, and it is Kieran Culkin, and I can't the other actor too. It's an Italian name. I have it right here somewhere. The other, so it's them, and Link is the name of the character. The other character that here, let's see here. Kieran Culkin, Bob Odenkirk, John Peruccello, so an Italian man, fellow Italian. He was in there too, and so this is just the first taste of Kieran Culkin in this. Now, obviously, he just won the Academy Award, so he's fresh off of that. Kieran Culkin's a big wrestling fan, so that is what I will also talk about here in a little bit too. But so Kieran Culkin tries to make this guy has no interest in buying a house, it seems, but Richard Roma is selling. He's selling. He's looking to get somebody, and sure enough, it seems like he convinces this guy. Brings him over to the table, shows him what he's got here, makes this wild pitch. It's like a monologue to remember because he says some crazy stuff in it. If you know Mammoth, there's a lot of swear words in there, a lot of profanities. That's the other thing is like some of the stuff we'll say will raise your eyebrows because it is not even fit for today's world of what we, have gotten accustomed to nowadays. So what gets said in this play is pretty. It'll pique your eyebrows up a little bit, which is great. So the next scene, or the act is end. It's a shorter act. It's only like 40 minutes, maybe roughly. And then we got a 14-minute intermission, and then sure enough, we get the lights come back up, and it's the office, and the office is trashed. The office is completely trashed, and somebody stole the leads. Now I'm not going to spoil anything. But again, different scene. The light, it's brighter. The office is brighter than what the Chinese restaurant had. And then it's just chaotic. There's a cop involved. They keeps bringing people into the office. If you've never seen the play, if you've never seen the movie it was pretty spot on too with the dialogue the rest of the way. The only big difference is that there's no Blake character, the Alec Baldwin character. But yes, we get more of it. And this act, everybody's great, but this act is where Kieran Culkin really shines. You want to talk about somebody that brings a lot of subtlety, knows who he is physically as an actor, and knows what to make of the environment around him. He really did such a great job. Just awesome. Aspects where, he's there's papers strewn all over the floor. He uses papers, kind of shoves them out of the way, does all this stuff, has fun with the environment. And that's what was really cool about it all. And even utilizing the height difference he has. He's he's on the shorter side. He's taller than me, but who isn't taller than me? But John Williamson's a taller actor. And even he's ducking under, interacting with him. Just really was finding his groove. You can tell having a lot of fun doing all this stuff. And just making himself bigger in the environment that was there. And he's different at this point, younger than Al Pacino was in the Glengarry movie. So there's that neat added element to it all too, where he's the youngest guy in the cast. But he brings this emphasis and this energy to it that is really, really great. So man, and just how it was neat. The play itself is set up so neat because you have these scenes with two actors in each scene, and then this next scene is everybody intertwining with one another. And this next act, is everybody intertwining with one another and interacting with one another. So just really, really well executed, and such a fantastic show. Only regret I have is that, so obviously you can't take pictures. But they said you could take pictures during the curtain call. So I like pictures, and I brought a backup phone, and I thought like because my other phone, my backup phone, takes better pictures. So I'm like, once that happened, I was like, okay, I'll get ready, by that time and all that stuff. So curtain call happens, boom, I pull my phone out, my backup phone. I pull up the camera app. It's on me. The selfie. There for some reason there's the selfie on me. I'm like, what? And so I switch that over real quick. Everybody's applauding. I want to applaud because I want to see these guys. And so this stage is there. I hit the camera thing. 10, 9. It's got the freaking countdown on. And I'm like, no. And I'm trying to like fix that real quick. Can't fix it. I missed the curtain call basically. Don't get a picture. I was bummed. But what a great show. Just so cool. So how does this play? How does it all tie into wrestling, huh? How is it? Neat thing is Raw was in town, like I said, at the same time. Raw was going on while the show was going on. They literally started at the same time. The play did. So what I wanted to chat about when it comes to wrestling, and if you watch my other show, Rumor and Innuendo, with Robert Karpelis, WE Creative _ is Sean X, or you watch RVD, One of a Kind with RVD, you will know that wrestling, it's all in the details. And so I was thinking about Kieran Culkin and what he brought to the role of Richard Roma, and what I mentioned about him utilizing his environment. There was the little details that made his character even bigger than, what Richard Roma was, in the script, because you get a sense of who Richard Roma is by what he says, because Mamet is so detailed in his dialogue, but there's that opportunity to make it your own. And Kieran Culkin really made it his own. And so like when you think about a match and how it's laid out and certain things like that, you think about like, okay, AEW has these matches and there's such athleticism and everything like that. And like you watch it, and sure, that all that stuff is great. But what really gets somebody engaged is the in-between. And Rob Van Dam with Sabu, when Sabu was our guest, we were talking about the in-betweens and how all that stuff was so important when it comes to telling a story and elevating and getting the viewer invested into what you're doing. Kieran Culkin did that as Richard Roma in this play. It was like he showed who he elevated that character of Richard Roma to his own style, and in turn was physicality, but making the most of what was around him and building to who it was as that character as well. So I thought that was such an interesting thing that made me think about it. Another thing, I do a show with Fonzie too, Bill Alfonso. What did I learn from Fonzie? Is it's all about presentation, and made me think of like the set design, made me think of the both how different they were, but how cool that vibe was. And like the presentation of it all, it's such simplistic acts and scenes that go on, but in the scene there's two stationary things: what Chinese restaurant in Act 1, destroyed office in Act 2, and that's it. So but both look amazing. So if you're able to present that in a certain way, and then you think about too, in the same way of presentation, you also think about the cast that was assembled for this: Bill Burr, Bob Odenkirk, Kieran Culkin, Michael McKean, and you have that great supporting cast to back them up as well. So so presentation, you got a great legendary comedian, Bill Burr. You got Bob Odenkirk, who's so awesome as Saul Goodman, and did the Mr. Oh my God, the Mr. I can't remember the name of it. If somebody knows the name of it, help me out. The Mr. Show. That's what it is. So I think that was that aspect is a presentation. Hey, look at these names we got. We got Kieran Culkin, who so did great, like as Roman in Succession, and now just won an Academy Award too. So boom, presentation. It's all about what you show and how you get people in. Like this is a very strictly limited engagement. These performances, so I think they're all sold out now. Like I don't think you can get in there anymore. But presentation's a key aspect, and how they did it with two beautiful set design, and then the cast that you got assembled together. Like if you're familiar with the play, or if you're familiar with the movie, and you're familiar with the actors, you know that this was like spot on cast when it comes to stuff. And yeah, and like I said, like Michael McKean, like he brought such a different kind of more thoughtful. Georgia. I mean, Alan Arkin did a great job as Georgia too. Don't get me wrong in the movie, but Michael McKean was just like there was something extremely endearing that he brought to the character and stuff like that. That you're just like, yeah, he's great with this. About it, and the guy that played Williamson too, he was so good too. Like just kind of likable in certain ways. Where Williamson as a role is, you kind of typically don't like him. You kind of like Williamson in this. Donald Weber Jr. is his name, and yeah, he was great. So, yeah, props to him. Really good stuff. I mean, I think it's sold out, like I said. So I don't. If there's any opportunity you can get to go see the show, go see it. So yeah, I thought it was really well done. The other aspect I wanted to talk about when it comes to what Glengarry and how it all kind of ties in to wrestling is the aspect too of, oh my gosh, where was I going with it? Because I'm trying to think what there was one other point I wanted to make when it came to this stuff too that really stood out to me from like this is like oh yeah, here it is. All right, this is in way like kind of connected to it's connected more to the plot. Selling yourself. And I don't mean physically selling yourself like a wrestler does, like selling in the ring. In a way it is though. All these salesmen, like I said, they are constantly selling. The only one who isn't selling and does a horrible job at it, as you'll find out if you know the show, is Williamson. But everybody, Aronow's not really selling himself either. Maybe in certain ways he is because he's trying to figure stuff out. But the roles of Moss, which is Bill Burr, David Moss, the role of Shelley, which is Bob Odenkirk, and the role of Roma, which obviously is Kieran, they're selling themselves. And they're selling anything that they can to try to get certain things. So, like, obviously in the opening act, Shelley's trying to sell himself to Williamson. Hey, give me the leads. Well, and then, I don't want to ruin anything. So there's a little bit of like treachery and stuff you'll find out. So the people are actually, selling behind their backs and everything like that. And it made me think too, pro wrestling, it's just like this political game that gets played. Not only, what you see on television from presentation and, storyline standpoint, but behind the scenes, there's all these politics going into play and everything like that. So I think what I'm trying to really get at is what wrestling can learn from theater and this play in particular is you showcase your talent, all those actors that I named, and you showcase and you keep it simple. You keep everything simple. You literally have 2 sets. Boom. Set 1, Chinese restaurant. Set 2, The Office. And then you make it look good. And you keep it short. Seriously, this show, it's a play. This show was only like an hour and a half. That was it. They left me wanting more. They left me wanting to come back and see it again. And so this perfectly encompass what a pro wrestling product can learn is keep it simple, focus on your stars, focus on the presentation, and tell a good story. And that's it. That is what you can learn from such a great show. And you keep the drama, obviously. You keep the stakes high. These stakes were high in the show. Like, these guys are going to get fired. Stuff like that is going down. And you have these characters that are enticing, that not bigger than life, but kind of in certain ways they are. Because the other aspect too is like, you think of wrestling, and it is theater. You know, you have to pick and choose when you your body language. And like somebody like Bob Odenkirk was amazing at that. Like, he played to the theater. He, like, you know, didn't over exaggerate, but gave it enough to get you into who he was and who the character of Shelley was. So I just liked it a lot. And I was just like, man, if you sat somebody like Tony Khan down to watch us play, and then take what you can from it. It's just the cool aspects of acting and the nuances, the little details, but you know, the simplicity of it all. And you got people that you like and people that you don't like in the show, but they're all fascinating characters in the same realm. So that's kind of my takeaway from this. This is I'm gonna do a written review on this too. It will be up this week at some point. And yeah, I love the show, and I really wanted to talk about it. And I mean, if there's any way you can get yourself a ticket to this, do it. If you're in the New York City area, you know, I felt it was really, really cool to see. I was like super happy for Bill Burr. Super amazed to see Bob Odenkirk, who I just loved in Better Call Saul, and awesome to see what Kieran Culkin, the talent that he has, and you can tell why he's an Academy Award winner. And shout out to Michael McKean and too the rest of the cast as well. It was just so well done. So that's all I have to say. I appreciate Triple E and Maddie in the chat talking about all this kind of stuff. Bill Burr with all this different stuff. I really appreciate everybody chiming in, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. And so if you haven't yet, be sure to go to onlywrestlers.com, sign up there, and get your free account. And then if you subscribe to one of the people performing on the show on March 20th, you will get that show. You will get to watch it live March 20th on onlywrestlers.com. So do that, help out RVD, and help out all that stuff. As far as anything else, go to onetsport.com and get some merch. We got all the merch from, like I said, Rob Van Dam, Magnum TA. We're the official store of the Four Horsemen. We're one of the official stores for Click This merchandise, new Click This merchandise, if you like Kevin Nash and anything like that. So also a very good actor. So be sure to check all that stuff out. But yeah, if you also check out my other show, Rumor and Innuendo, every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time on Rumor and Innuendo YouTube or Ad Free Shows YouTube and everything like that. So also, you can check me out at fourhorsemannetwork.com. Greg Gagne, Magnum TA. We're going live Friday night or Friday evening, 4 p.m. RVD and I will be going live tomorrow at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a Thursday. So go to rvdt.com. And yeah, give us a 5-star rating on whatever you tune in, whether it's wherever you get your damn podcasts. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hope this was fun. Go check out Glengarry Glen Ross. Read the play. Watch the movie. And try to, if you can, go see it on Broadway with Bill Burr, Kieran Culkin, and Bob Odenkirk. Now, as they say in the play, go to lunch.